You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 83 of Chiro Hustle post-Thanksgiving madness. I am your co-host Luke Millette. Here's your host Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity to interview Edgar Everett, and if you guys want to know more about taking care of an urban community and running a Voc chiropractic coaching, stay tuned. So Dr. Edgar, tell us your chiropractic story. What influenced you to become a chiropractor?
Jim, when I was in high school, it's actually a pretty straightforward story. I didn't have a chiropractic miracle. I didn't fall down the steps and couldn't walk and got adjusted and it changed my life. That's not the way it really happened for me. I was a junior in high school and I was taking my girlfriend to work, and she worked for a chiropractor. And he was loading up his car. I remember he had this old red 4Runner, and he was loading up his car with all this stuff, and he was about to go on vacation. And I was standing out front. I said, "Where you headed?" And he said, "I'm going to China for 30 days. And I said, "You leaving your practice and you going to China for 30 days? He's like, "Yeah, man." And that moment for me is when I decided that I was going to be a chiropractor. Any job that you could do, I didn't know anything about chiropractic at the time, but I said any job that you can do where you can leave for 30 days and go to China is what I want to do. And then from there, my chiropractic story gets a little bit deeper. I ended up, when I was in undergrad, from high school, I was going to be a chiropractor. I wrote my graduation paper on it. I got a scholarship based on writing what I wanted to be when I grow up. So I knew I was going to be a chiropractor. And when I got to undergrad, I began to work for a chiropractor, and that's where things really kind of shifted for me. And I was meeting all these amazing people in his practice and seeing people get well, seeing people's lives change, people actually happy to be in a doctor's office. And that's when I realized that I'd made the right choice. It was a good fit for me.
That's a really cool story. And you said off camera or off interview there that you've been out for about 14 years now. Yeah. And you're down there in the St. Louis area. What would you say at this juncture in your career makes you unique in the chiropractic space?
Honestly, I think it's a combination of things. I think one is being a minority in chiropractic. Being a minority of a minority, right? Being a chiropractor, I think is one of the things that makes me unique, but also my perspective. This has been, my chiropractic journey, I don't think has been unique. A lot of us have a hard time and struggle to find our way, and then there's a lot of success stories in chiropractic. But I have specifically for the past 10 years, myself and my partner, you hear me say we a lot because I have a partner in practice. Myself and my partner in practice have really been serving an underserved community. We've been serving minorities for 10 years, and we've learned a lot over that 10 years about how to effectively serve a community that really doesn't know much about chiropractic, isn't getting adjusted, and doesn't understand those wellness principles. So I think one of the things that makes me unique is, 12 years of experience in taking care of that population.
Yeah, that's a really cool perspective, and maybe there's a few takeaways that you have from being in that demographic. What is it like to be that type of a chiropractor, and I guess to be a beacon of light for that community?
I love it, man. I wouldn't have it any other way. The effort and the money is not the same, but the satisfaction, man, is amazing. It's incredible to meet someone who's been to the primary doctor, they've been to an orthopedist, they've been to a neurologist, they've had pain, been to a pain doctor, they've been all these places, and they come into us and their life has changed. That's something that happens for us weekly. It happens for us daily. It happens in our practice all the time. And so the satisfaction in what I do, man, is really what keeps me motivated, what keeps me going, and realizing that there's millions of people who need the same thing.
Yeah, and I bet there's like a whole different layer of appreciation when you become that trusted resource in your community.
Yeah, man. I think so, because we get all the questions, we get all the health questions. When anybody has anything at all going on, they call us or they come in and ask those questions about their toe or any injury that they have or any ailment that they're dealing with, what supplements they should be taking. And we become their primary. We become their primary doctors because we've taught them about that shift from thinking about the cause instead of the symptom. When they start to think about the cause, they know we're the only ones in healthcare that they can have that conversation with.
So what are some of your favorite motivational quotes and mantras that keep you inspired and fired up about what you do?
There's two main ones that I live by right now. I'm a quote fanatic, so it shifts all the time, depending on my mood and what's going on in my life. But right now, the two that are really kind of keeping me going, and that I say to myself all the time, the highest form of faith is preparation. We service a faith-based community. And so one of the things that I tell people all the time is that God has given you all the tools that you need in order to be successful, specifically in your health. So if you're not using those and you're not using the tools that are in front of you, and what I mean by that is seeing your chiropractor or exercising or eating right, all those things are already available. If you're not using those things available to you, then you don't really have faith. Faith without works is dead. So those two together really are kind of where I'm at right now. That's one, and then the other one is one that's really, really important to me right now in this moment. It's from a rapper. I'm a music fanatic, so it's from one of my favorite rappers, T.I., and he says, "My children can't eat no excuses," and I think that's simple and right to the point, right? Like you just can't live off excuses. You can't eat off excuses. You can't pay your mortgage from excuses. And so I try to eliminate all the excuses I can in every situation, not just in practice.
Yeah, I also love T.I.
Good man. You're a good man.
So what's possible in the future with everything you're doing and accomplishing now?
Paradigm shift is what's possible. That's what we're looking for, and that's what we're working towards in these underserved communities and minority communities. A paradigm shift away from leaning on things that don't work, that are only there and designed to keep you in the system, so that you don't feel the problem that you have, to keep you alive. The paradigm shift to where people are now talking about solutions, real solutions to the problems that they have, specifically to the health problems that they have. And that's all I want, is for people to be looking at their health from a different angle, from this wellness model that that we in chiropractic are at the forefront of, and that we really develop. When people understand what it is that chiropractors do, when they understand the difference between covering up your problem and addressing it, then the life has changed.
Yeah, one of the things that I really think is important is the paradigm shift, like you said, and getting people to realize that investing in yourself is all about quality of life. Yeah. And the old model of if you have some type of an ailment, you go to this person for this type of follow through. But with a chiropractor, it's a whole different interaction. You actually get to see what's going on with somebody's biomechanics. You get to see what's going on with the tension in their spine, and then you get a chance to help somebody naturally. And I think that that's one of the coolest parts about what a chiropractor does for their community is they actually go into the community and they offer, like you said, that solution and that paradigm shift for people to have a door to open up and know that they can go in there, and it's not going to be the same same story that you get from the other type of doctors. And,
absolutely.
And not to say that the worst thing ever is to say us against them, and it's never going to be that because the paradigm shift is on. And I think there's even more and more people that are in that other medical profession side of it that utilize chiropractic services as well.
Yeah, man. You have no. I mean, so one of the things that we see a lot, specifically talking about people and the primary doctors, is younger primary doctors love chiropractors, older primary doctors hate chiropractors. And that's typically what we see. Because that shift is happening, Jim, that shift is happening where even the medical profession is realizing that the old model just isn't holding up anymore. That this new model, and it's not new, it's actually the oldest model, right? It's coming back, and it's results driven. When you're not getting the results, eventually people are going to walk away from it, and that's what's happening in the medical community is they aren't getting the results for. Now, let me back up and say that there are some things that the medical community are very, very important for. If I fall off a ladder and break my leg, then I'm going to the ER. So there's some things that the medical community is very, very helpful with. One of the things that they're not helpful with is your health. They're not in the business of getting you healthy, and that's okay because we are in the business of getting you healthy. You know what I mean? So that's okay to say that. It's okay for it to be that way because if you're in a life-threatening situation, then it's great that we have an incredible hospital system. It's amazing that we have those things, and orthopedic surgeons when you need them, and neurologists when you need them. The problem is that they're just kind of overstepping their bounds and overstating their purpose.
The thing that you say, man, that like drills into me over and over is everybody needs a chiropractor at the baseline of it all. And the reason that other people don't get the results that chiropractors get is because they're not trained as chiropractors.
It's simple. As simple as that. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
And the training that a chiropractor gets, I've been to the Gonstead extravaganza up there, and I saw the way that they trained. I've been one of the only people into a Brett Jones training and seen how he did a training with his adjusting ninjas.
Yeah. Serious.
I've seen the preparation that chiropractors go through to become masters of adjusters. And I know the profession so deep with the philosophy that it has that's unique and authentic to any other profession out there. So to me, it's just full of fire. It's full of more research now. More science is getting put out on the effect of chiropractic adjustments. Just say like on people's blood work, man. So it's really cool to see where the chiropractic profession is going.
Yeah, man. You know what? I talked to one of our clients this morning, and she was telling me about, I won't mention her chiropractic school, but she was talking about how she graduated from her chiropractic school with no chiropractic foundation because philosophy is not allowed in their school. So which is insane, but philosophy is not allowed in their school. They don't adjust till near the end of their schooling. It's a much more allopathic model that they go by and that they work from. And she was struggling in practice. And we had a long conversation, and she said this to me. She said, I feel like the only difference between my success and my failure is my belief system. And I wish I would have said that to her. It was so good. But she just felt like she didn't get the foundation that she needed in order to prepare her for chiropractic. And that's what you're talking about, man. Like this is serious business. And chiropractic is hard work. And if you're not ready for this serious business, then you're not going to get the results that you're looking for.
Man, and that's just it too, is the old way of people thinking that somebody else is going to go and take care of them are over.
It's over.
You have to get on the train of taking care of yourself if you want to have good health. And having the chiropractor in your life is usually a cash proposition. And I think that a lot of times, if we could take some knowledge of one of the most wealthy men in the world is Warren Buffett, and he's always said, invest in yourself. And taking advice from the top down isn't a bad thing to do. So I think that people realize that the more that they do invest in themselves, the more that they can strategize the outcomes that they're looking for whether it's, health goals, relationship goals, financial goals, whatever it might be. But chiropractically speaking, people will have to invest more as they see the slipping system that they were used to. And, back to, you said that we're evolving a little bit. And we are, man. It's like people are more demanding on non-gasoline vehicles going forward. They want more, electric cars and more, conservative approaches. And I think that's kind of the path that we're going through with chiropractic too. Is chiropractic is the steady the steady Eddie, and it's a paradigm that hasn't changed.
Right. It's simple, man. It's simple, and I think when you try to make it complicated, that's when you lose it. That's when you lose chiropractic. We talk a lot about those people who can really make chiropractors who can really make chiropractic work, meaning being able to serve a lot of people. And those are the most simple practices that you can imagine. It's focused on the chiropractic principle. It's focused on the adjustment. And they're so heavily focused on the adjustment that the messaging is so sound and it's not scattered, and it's very direct and people can understand it. And I think when you're able to stay focused on the principle of what it is that we do, man, then you stay right there, and you can message your practice properly. And when you can message your practice properly, then now people can see, this is what I've been looking for. I wasn't sure exactly what was wrong with the way I've been taking care of myself or the system that I've been a part of, the healthcare system that I've been a part of. I wasn't exactly sure. But when you say that to me about the chiropractic principle and how chiropractic works, I realize what I've been missing.
So where do you see the profession finding itself in the next 20 years?
Man, honestly, I don't think that chiropractors that believe the way I believe and the way that we believe are winning this fight. This fight for the principle. And the reason for that is failure. Chiropractors are failing at such a high rate that I see a couple of things happening. One is they're doing other things, and so chiropractic isn't the greatest thing in the world because it didn't work for them. Or they're in the chiropractic world and they're not doing a very good job of it. Or the worst part is chiropractic didn't work for them, so they go into chiropractic education. And chiropractic didn't work for them, but then they decide to go into the educational side, to the academic side of chiropractic and teach our future chiropractors. And I feel like because of that factor right there, we're losing this battle. So I see trimester after trimester, semester after semester, groups of chiropractors who come out unprepared. They don't know how to adjust. They don't know the chiropractic principle. They don't have any business sense whatsoever when they graduate. And unfortunately, in many of the academic systems around the country that teach chiropractic, it's even if it's unconsciously, it's designed that way. It's designed to make us unprepared for what it is that we are supposed to be trained to do. Because if there are a bunch of people being successful at chiropractic, then the people who weren't able to be successful at chiropractic don't feel so good about themselves, if that makes sense. So I feel like we're losing this battle. So over the course of the next 20 years, if we don't get a hold of our education, if we don't get a hold of chiropractic schools the way that we need to, then we will lose this battle, and chiropractors will be DOs. They won't be adjusting, and they'll be prescribing medication. That's what will happen, because the people who want chiropractic to be that way work in a lot of our schools and in a lot of our organizations. They head up a lot of our organizations. So that's where all the decisions are made. That's where futures are built. That's where the foundation is laid in those institutions. So if we don't get a hold of those institutions, then we'll lose this battle.
That's pretty scary. I hope that's not how things work out. So what would you say is the most important thing to happen to the profession in the last decade?
Over the past decade?
Yes.
I would probably say insurance not paying as well as it used to is probably one of the best things that happened to the profession. Because I feel like that's what started us on this road. Don't get me wrong. Because of the population that we see, we accept insurance. We're about 60-40 insurance to cash. And so insurance is a necessary part of what it is that we do. So I don't mean that there shouldn't be insurance and there shouldn't be insurance and insurance shouldn't be paying. I just hear a lot about the late 80s and the 90s, even the early 2000s, where insurance was paying a lot of money for chiropractic. So what happened was I felt like chiropractic got a little bit lazy. We started to rely on all these extras around the adjustment in order to be able to bill for services. So billing for services, I think, is one of the things that has hurt us and put us in this weak position. So now that once insurance is beginning to die, you have to figure out chiropractic for what chiropractic is. That makes this profession harder. So I feel like that's been the biggest thing over the past, maybe a little bit longer than a decade, maybe 15 years, that has happened to chiropractic that's affected it the most.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things happening with the chiropractic world too, and I do think that when the profession went, further away from the insurance-based model, and basically it goes back full circle to how we started this conversation, and I really do think that the model away from insurance and moving more to cash really cleans up the message of what chiropractic is at each individual office. And, one of my good friends, Patrick Smith, he's like, yeah, I went to this style of practice because that's how I adjusted my friends and family. He's like, we go in, we lay down on the table, we get adjusted, and then we leave. And
exactly, yeah.
I think when people go back to that style of chiropractic and they're not trying to nickel and dime for everything that they can bill out for, I think it brings integrity back to the adjustment.
Yeah, and clarity back to your message.
Yeah.
Which is, from a communication standpoint, is key.
Yeah, and I've done so many chiropractic screening events. So sometimes the public at large is confused as to what chiropractors actually do because of that insurance-based model that practitioners were, incorporating whatever they could do to bill out for it. And that, like you said, it kind of made the profession a little weak. And it made them easier to be, bought up in the school systems. And I think that whole shift now, you're going to find a lot, grittier chiropractor out there too that's principally based, and they're like, hell no, I won't go.
Right.
And they're going to be the ones that are saying, hey, you know what? I get it. You guys have all decided to sell out, but we're not.
Right. And exactly, that's exactly it. And so my fear is there'll be those gritty chiropractors out there, and the system, if we don't continue to produce good chiropractors, there are going to be more chiropractors going into that model, right? That fits under the medical umbrella, kind of in the DO style, that people will begin to believe that that's what chiropractic is. So we will become dinosaurs, and we'll become the old way chiropractic used to be. My new chiropractor does this, and this. That's my fear, is that people get confused about what it is chiropractic really is.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
So tell us some of your favorite marketing strategies, and how do you get the following to get people in your door?
So when I look at it, and I've had this conversation a lot because social media is such a part of our lives right now, personally and professionally. I always try to look at my following and my practice member base, my patient base, as two separate things. Because my practice member base, my patient base are the committed ones. My following are the ones who could one day be committed. So when I think about my strategies, I really think about them in those two forms. So when I'm thinking about building the following of our practice, that is definitely heavily social media for us, primarily Facebook for us, but just for simplicity's sake on our end. But primarily Facebook is where we work to build our following. Building my practice base is much more hands-on. We do a lot of talks. We do some screenings. We used to do a insane amount of screenings, but we still do some screenings. But we do a lot of talks, and we do a lot of internal marketing. So we're a heavily referral-based practice, and we love it that way. We like to think the systems that we put together are ones that really work to bring in referrals and bring in qualified, quote-unquote qualified practice members into your practice. And when I'm thinking about building my following, honestly, that's something that we're still really, really working on. Because we're the betweeners, right? I graduated in 2004, so I'm a betweener. Meaning that I understand the value of social media, but I'm not fully entrenched in it yet. So I try to be as practical as I possibly can about everything. So all our social media is being handled outside our practice because I'm a chiropractor. And I want a professional who understands social media, who understands all these mediums, to be handling those strategies and to be, from physically handling all of that stuff for us. So that's been what's been most successful for us to kind of stay in our lane and allow the professionals to handle that stuff for us.
So what would you say is your favorite social media platform to stay connected with everyone?
For us, it's Facebook, definitely. For our patient base, the people that we see, the demographic that we see, they love Facebook. It's a significant part of their lives. And so for us to stay connected, whenever we're using Facebook effectively and frequently, consistently, then the results are there, from a following standpoint. So Facebook is probably the one that I like the most.
Yeah, it's like a holding place to share your message consistently, and people can interact with you, and that's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about whether it's us communicating as colleagues, or whether it's somebody that's a potential new patient. They can digitally open up your door and look inside and see who the doctor is. Maybe people giving testimonials on your page. They can see reviews. They can schedule an appointment now.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's powerful stuff right there.
It really is, man. And the cool thing is that it's growing. Like before we got on the interview, I think it was before we got on the interview, we were talking about Zoom calls, right? People doing a Zoom call to do speaking engagements and in classrooms, and they used to seem impersonal, and now it's more personal. I think the same thing is happening with social media, is that they used to kind of seem impersonal, right? Like a radio commercial or a billboard. And that's really changing, I see, in social media, is that it's becoming people are getting a much more personal feel through social media because it's so integrated in our lives now.
And they're there so much that they're looking for solutions that are in their scroll.
Right.
So they find their solutions while they're on social media.
Yep.
One of the first things that they'll ever do is they'll do a Google search, and they'll find a link to a chiropractor, or I just think it's a way different game out there for people to stay in touch with their communities through social media. And the ones that do it the right way have thriving practices, and those that don't do it the right way, there's going to be somebody that graduates next week that knows how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And they can't wait to come into that community and to kill it.
Right.
Yeah, so social is definitely one of those things. Facebook is huge. So do you get into any apps or anything, or are you just primarily using the Facebook app there?
Primarily using Facebook.
Okay.
I'm learning right now about other social media platforms. I like to be informed before I start to use stuff. So, because it seems like that's where mistakes happen. I actually have someone, a lady who is actually walking me through all social media platforms and showing me how they work together and how most effectively to use them, because it's gotten to the point now where the value for me personally and for me professionally is there. Honestly, I didn't feel like the value was there for a long time, but now it's at a point where it really is there. It really is present. The future that I think everybody was calling the present is actually here, and so I'm ready to learn more and to dive more in it. But right now, it's primarily Facebook.
So let's go off script here a little bit and jump into maybe an advice snippet. If there was a new grad out there and you had a chance to maybe sit down for 5 minutes with them and give them some words of wisdom, what would that look like?
Nothing replaces hard work. It doesn't exist. Would be my first piece of advice.
Sure.
It just does not exist. The shortcut isn't there. And that hard work may look different. So hard work in 1995 in chiropractic looks different than hard work in 2018 in chiropractic. You're working in different ways. Like we were just talking about social media. Even in social media, you got to provide the content. That's work. So the hard work may look different, but there's no substitute for it. Chiropractic is still a challenge. We still see a small percentage of the population, which means that most people, the majority of people, don't really understand chiropractic. It's your responsibility once you decide to graduate and become a chiropractor to jump over those hurdles and to convey the message that gets people into chiropractic, and that's hard work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of understanding of the profession and understanding of the techniques that you're going to be using and the communication styles that are important and office procedures and processes and staffing and, how you properly pay your taxes. It requires all of those things in order to be successful in chiropractic. So, the one piece of advice that I would give people is just do the work. Just do the work.
So going off script again just a little bit, for anyone who doesn't know, would you mind talking about Evoke Coaching and your involvement?
Yeah. So Evoke Chiropractic Coaching is something that myself, my two partners, Dr. Xavier Tippler and Dr. Frank Vaugh, created about 3 years ago. And it came from just what I've been talking about, is watching people fail over and over again in our profession. Watching chiropractors fail over and over again in our profession. And for us specifically, watching minority chiropractors fail in chiropractic at a much, much higher rate. To see a successful minority chiropractor is on the rare side, let alone in practice. So our goal is to change that. Our goal is to improve the lives of all chiropractors who decided to become chiropractors and be a part of this profession. And we know that improving their lives means improving their practices. If we can improve their practices, then we change chiropractic. Now we don't have so many chiropractors who weren't able to find their way in this difficult profession. If we can do that, then chiropractic becomes better. So Evoke was formed based on those ideals and those principles. Drawing your chiropractic spirit to the surface is what everything is focused around for us. So we really focus in 3 different areas. One is marketing, of course, because that is your practice. Processes and procedures, because you need that. And then business and philosophy, we kind of combine together. So we really work in those 3 areas with our clients and everything that we do in order to help people build successful practices.
That's fantastic. So, what do you do when you're not working? What do you like to do for your free time? Do you read? Do you listen to other podcasts?
I'm actually just getting into podcasts, which is kind of cool. I got a friend of mine who's creating a podcast right now, and he's been in a podcast since, I don't know, before they were called podcasts. He's been telling me. He's kind of getting me into some podcasts right now, some business stuff, and even some biographical podcasts. So I'm figuring that area. I read a lot. I'm a biography reader. I just finished Open by Andre Agassi, which is an awesome book. But I'm a biography reader, so that's how I spend most of my own kind of personal free time. I'm a gym rat as well, so I'm in the gym 5 or 6 days a week. And besides that, man, I'm just kind of hanging out with my family. I have a wife and 3 little girls, so my time is not my own. When I'm reading those books, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you have to find that layer of personal discovery still too. I interviewed this dude that's been out practicing 39 years the other day, and he was talking about how he still loves to learn, and he's still like what you're doing. He's like, I'm still refining my social media game.
That's right.
So yeah, it's never too late to get your social media game strong.
Right. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
So this is the best part of the show. This is where you get to give people links to your websites and social media pages to find you better.
Yeah, so we got a couple. So obviously there's EvokeChiropracticCoaching.com is our website. Evoke Chiropractic also is a link to that same website. You can obviously find us on Facebook at Evoke Chiropractic Coaching. Instagram as well is Evoke Chiro, at Evoke Chiro. And then for me personally, it's all the same. Edgar Everett III on Facebook. Also a new, you'll like this, Jim. I'm starting an interview series.
Oh, nice.
That's focused on small businesses. Because I've been in chiropractic so long. Or for a while now, that small businesses, which chiropractic is just a small business.
Yep.
It's really something that I've really become interested in, and talking to people about how they grow their small businesses and develop them, and are successful. So it's called Black Ball from Success.
That's cool.
So that's something I'm working on too. So you can find that obviously on Facebook as well.
Yeah, it's cool when you can start finding your little niche and working into it. And if what we do fuels our interest, but it also creates a voice for the people out there, and to give awareness to chiropractic. And I think that when you do figure out how to market and brand something and to bring value to the arena that you're looking to step into, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you, and you're going to be like, man, this is fueling everything that I do personally more than it is to even put the work in to do it.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Man, you got, by the way, I try to pay attention in the chiropractic world, and it feels like you guys came out of nowhere. like 3 years ago, I didn't know who you were, and now I can't even hardly turn on my computer. It's crazy, man. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, man. And the hustle for you guys is really real, and it's evident. And you guys are bringing something to chiropractic that chiropractic needs. It needs to be modernized, right?
It does.
It needs to be a part of this growing community, and it needs to be a part of the way the world's changing, man. I really appreciate Chiro Hustle for adding that to chiropractic, man, bringing that to us, because chiropractic is a slow to change profession. We fight change, right? So you guys are, man, helping us out so much, man. It's really cool to see the interviews that you guys do, and really getting to see other people's perspective in chiropractic and what other people are going through, man. This is really valuable stuff.
Well, we certainly appreciate the nice words, and the work that we do is fun, and the interaction that we get is with high-level minded people. We get to communicate with the doctor a day, And there's something to be said about there's something to be said about communicating with people of high value and high culture and pillars of their community. And for us to have access to so many amazing minds, it's really a blessing to us to be able to be networked in so well. And back to what you said, man, is there's a sleeping giant out there.
Yes.
And that's kind of how we came out, is we were a sleeping giant. And I think that the more that we foster goodness with the chiropractic message, you'll see that there'll be more sleeping giants out there that catch on to the beautiful profession of chiropractic and become advocates and supporters. And they'll look at the early work that we're doing here, and we will set the standard and the benchmark for other people coming into this market doing what we do.
No, you already have, man. You guys already have.
Yeah, we quite literally did come right out of nowhere.
So it's not just a feeling; it's the truth, right?
Yeah, that's how it happened.
Now we set some goals, man. We set some targets, and my personal goal is to put out more chiropractic interviews than anybody else on planet Earth.
Yeah,
and that's what we.
Now
That's
you need
what.
to set a new goal. Time for a new one.
They're cheered, brother.
So
I like it.
So we're getting near the end of this episode. Is there anything you wanted to talk to us about that we just didn't ask you?
Nah, man. You guys really, you know what you're doing. You covered it all, man. Gave me the opportunity to say some things that I like to say and like to get out there, because you said you're reaching thousands of people, thousands of chiropractors with Chiro Hustle. So I just thank you guys for the opportunity to inject my opinion, into the culture and into the chiropractic world.
Yeah, I think that there's a voice that's necessary from your perspective, and I think that having you into the larger chiropractic ecosystem with your voice and your integrity is something a lot of people can attach to and learn from. And they can come and get coaching with Evoke, and they can start transitioning in their lives and their careers, and lean on you for your experience and leadership. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, Edgar, thank you for being our guest today. We have run out of time on this episode.
All right.
So
thank you guys so much.
Thanks for coming on, and we want you to enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right, Edgar, we'll catch you on the next one.
All right, fellas.
All right, see you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.